Good morning and welcome to Ruck UK. Today we're going to be working on the Ruckus again. So this is build series episode 4. Now, in the last video, obviously you saw me build the 171cc bore kit onto the GY6 engine. Now, that's all been painted up, it's all ready to go. I've actually been doing a little bit of work on the frame and stuff, just in my own time. I needed a bit of sort of like headspace and something to just occupy my mind for a bit, so I've done a little bit and I'm going to just take you through that now. So, as you can see, I started off, I pieced these two parts together, which is the front and rear frame. In here, just make sure the two little mating faces in there, make sure that's ground to bare metal, so that'll give you a really nice bonding path through the frame. I've done the same on that side as well. So all the engine mount pieces I've done a little bit of modification to. So I sandblasted them, took them back to bare metal. This shock mount that you can see here, it's not very auto-focusing very well. It had 3 holes, so it literally had this one, another one and another one. So I always used to run it on the furthest one, but I wanted some more lows, so I cut the other 2 off and rounded it off nicely, as you can see, and then sandblasted that mount and repainted it. I got a new bolt that's gone through. Oh, these are little caps that I get from work, so I put them on literally and just slot them onto any old bolt, just to make it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Alright, at the front end, obviously we've got the triple tree back on. We'll go over the handlebars in a sec. So, triple tree on, new bearings in here, and at the top, courtesy of the Ruck shop, we put the battery tray back on, and this little bolt here, I ground that back to bare metal, and then on the other mating face that's on there, so that's like a bonding path. Should we need it. Now I'll put new bolts through here. On my shocks, these are the NCY slam shocks, obviously again supplied by the Ruck shop. So took this out, obviously make sure that this isn't pinched too tight, but just enough to hold your sort of like shock steady. Undo this, pull the spring out, and then I've chopped about sort of like about 1 inch off, so about 3 to 4 coils, if you want to call it, and then literally just slot them back in, do the nut up because it's got like an O-ring seal in there, and job done. Obviously, as you know, I kept all this together, literally just run my brake line through and back up to the handlebars. Now these are the Ruck shop's handlebar setup, and it is a fantastic bit of machining. So these are adjustable in their angle. And if you can just see on the front here, you can see like it slopes down as well, so it gives you this sort of like cafe racer style feel, you know, with a motorbike looking setup. Put my Adlin lever on. You can actually adjust this and slot it forward, but to be honest, I'm probably going to end up, because I like this flush like look here, I'm probably going to end up cutting a little bit off, not a massive amount but just a bit. When it comes to the engine, we've mounted the engine up. I am actually waiting for this main bolt, because the one I've got on there is literally like 5mm too short. Not too much of a problem, but at the moment it's just holding it there until I can tap the new one in. Obviously, as I said, new bolt mounted up. The rear brake I'm probably going to take apart and just clean it and service it. On this side we've got our 11 pole stator in there and a new pickup, and then on the fan, because I didn't want it touching any of the poles on the stator, I literally just put some washers before I put the bolts in, and then obviously Loctited everything. So when you go putting stuff together on this bike, just make sure you use enough Loctite. I'm using Loctite 243, which is a blue. It's what I could get hold of, so nothing major. But there you go. That's what it is. So these parts here that you can see, so the rectifier, flasher relay and the starter solenoid are all bits that were actually on the bike originally, from the previous project. Now some of this wiring doesn't look too bad. This looks like it's absolutely had it. I mean, it's proper like rusty and everything, but if it works, it works. Obviously rectifier, battery will go back in over that side. This wire that you can see here, that's actually for the Trailtech Vapor, which I'm planning on sort of mounting it down here somewhere. There is actually a bolt hole here, so I might make a little bracket up and mount it down here, because I want to keep like up here nice and clean. Let me know what you think. So yeah, all been repainted. She's looking alright, she's looking good. I do have to order, I need a new kickstand, because I can't fit my old one on there. Plus with it being too low, or no, you can't have too low. Plus with it being lower, my old kickstand won't work. So today I think I'm going to start laying in the loom. So I thought I'd bring you along on the journey. Alright, so I've had some fun today. I've put the rear half of the harness in. I've made off this plug, which is for my rear light, which if we go over to here, I've made a plug for, and I've made sure that they're all corresponding. So this is your power, this is your ground for your starter, which goes into there and actually is mounted to that bolt there. I got a cover on it so it covers it up, and then had to put a new terminal on the power to make it all nice and short. This boot, I'm not a lover of it, but we've got the coil, and then here is the stator plugs, which I've just wrapped up because I wanted to, keep it from harm and that. So that goes through round under here and loops back into the stator. Then I've put it in the standard clip, passed it along. This one here, I don't actually need this. This is for the fuel sender on the fuel gauge on there, and I've started wiring up at this end. So here we've got a couple of the grounds. It's all labelled up on the loom, as you can see here. You've got all these little labels that tell you exactly what everything is. I have noticed from looking at some of the Ruck Shop videos that our English bikes are slightly different, so there's no like cutout or anything here, which I've seen on a lot of videos. So yeah, this is all basically, I've just sort of like drooped it as to where I want it, and then I've put, I don't know if you can see down in here, you can just there, put the grounds in, which then follow all the way around into the harness, and then this one comes up here and onto that. So yeah, CDI. See, because there's no cutouts here, I have no idea sort of like how I'm going to mount all of this lot. So some good old sticky back tape, like plastic stuff, might have to come out. The main relay, it's all sorts of stuff. Everything. Horn. I've got something special for the horn to show you. Yeah, so progress. Right, so I'm going to just continue doing some bits on the bike. Just continue with the battery box loom, and I'll just update you along the way. Simple as that, really. The main objective really is to get it to a point where I can just, you know, fire it up and turn it over. I have noticed there's a couple of little bits that I've got to add. So in the UK we've got to have a number plate light. So I'm going to have to add that into the loom, which I will literally just run it off of the daylight running lights on the rear light. I'd like to do it like a clip, like a connector, so I could take it off if I ever need to. There is a lot of stuff in the loom that I don't need, such as the auto choke. That was why that connector down the back end was quite bulky, because I just taped it up. There's also some bits like for the fuel indicator and stuff that I don't need, so I'm just gonna tuck them away. Now, if I was going to do this like full strip down and do it, I'd probably do that with my next bike, because it's something I want to learn. Now, obviously I did that bike with Ryan over in when I was in my trip to the States. So if you want to see how Ryan really goes to town and fully strips a loom down to take out all the bits that aren't necessary, please go over to his channel and have a look at that. For me, I am no electrician or auto electrician. I wouldn't say it's too tricky for me, but it's I'm not as fast as I could be. Anyway, let's crack on. Hey guys, so been doing a fair bit of work on it. So as you can see, I've got the rectifier, CDI. I've got a little bracket here which I might actually put the CDI into. Depends on how it fits with the battery box. Starter relay, flasher relay. I've started wiring stuff in. So like for example, down here, I'm not going to be running a kill switch this time, so you have to make a loop, and then these two wires here will be going to a starter button. Now the rest of this is mainly like the left hand controls. So around this side, I've done the ignition switch, so I made that off. So I actually made that connector so I could disconnect it if needs be. Pulled the wires through so that can be connected. This one as well, which is for this little fuse. Basically just getting it all in place as to where I want it. Now, you see these wires here? I'm not going to use any of those because they are for the like the fuel. They call it the fuel sending. Is it fuel sending unit? So that's like the all to do with the little light that sits up here to tell you when your fuel quantity is low, and obviously into the little fuel tank bit there. Yeah, doesn't look very tidy at the moment, but want to get it all together so I can basically check that this thing turns over. So this back end's all done. This is all nice and loomed up for me. I am going to like wrap this, tidy it up a little bit, but it's actually pretty neat. So I'm going to call it for tonight, and I'll I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.